Hello, good morning. Um, this is the first Books at Lunchtime. I'm Tracy, and this is Kett's Books, and I'm in the bookshop in the morning, all wrapped up. Yes, because it was cold overnight, just in time for us to go into lockdown. Saying happy lockdown, everyone doesn't really feel the right thing to do, but actually, we're we're determined to make the best of this one. We've got 28 days, and in those days, we are going to be bringing you some book talk during every lunchtime. Um, because we've filled up our shop with such lovely books, and we know that everyone really, really loves a book when they have a bit of downtime, and lots of people like to give books at Christmas time, and we it just made us sad to think that people weren't going to have the joy of browsing to do their shopping. And I know that Christmas isn't upon us yet, but it will be, and some people have been worrying. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to talk to you about some books. It's not always going to be me. I've got a team. We always have a team at Kett's Books of people who are happy to help. And I've got Em and Imogen lined up for a start. Various others are about to be recruited who have said they'll help in any way. And we've also got some authors lined up who are going to join us. So that's really exciting. We've got a food demo signed up. Um, so that will be one of our books at lunchtime. We're going to have a schedule so you'll kind of know what to expect. But this is to get us started. And just to say the door is locked, and that is really annoying. Going into town this morning and seeing all the shopped businesses was devastating, really. But we need to keep the hope going and keep the message so alive that the shops are very much alive, and the shopkeepers still really need our support, even behind the locked doors. Um, so some of the time I'm going to talk to you about books that are brand new in. Sometimes I'm going to talk about what happens behind the scenes. We'll have a special episode on how to actually go about choosing a book if you're not actually a good reader yourself, or if you're choosing for someone who isn't a good reader. So we're going to cover an awful lot of ground, um, and just yeah, behind the scenes. Currently, my phone is being propped up by a stack of this book, The Thursday Murder Club, which has been the best-selling book this year. It's just outdone everything. It's Richard Osman off of Pointless. You've probably heard of him. It's a really good read about a group of people in a retirement village who have, I have read it, they have a little club for trying to solve murders, unsolved murders, open cases that the police didn't resolve, and they find one quite literally on their doorstep, and so they set about solving it themselves. The books I'm going to talk to you about today, though, and these are only going to be about 10 minutes long, are, where do you start? We've got a good 3,000 different titles in the shop, and there are 190,000 books published in the UK alone every year. So where do you start? So I started with what came in yesterday. Um, the book that we're most excited about arriving is this one. This is The Autumn of the Ace by Louis de Bernières. Now, Louis is a friend of our shop. He's been with us twice, and he was supposed to be back for an event in April. And we all know what happened in April. So we're hoping to get him back in as quick as we can. He's most famous for having written Captain Corelli's Mandolin, and he wrote these two books, The Dust That Falls from Dreams, which starts in the late 1800s and follows two families and the children growing up, and right through for 100 years, really, when you finish the trilogy. Then there's the second one, So Much Life Left Over, which is when the main character, Daniel, has been in World War One and in World War Two, and now he's got the rest of his life and no adventures that he can think of. And then this finishes the trilogy. So all the brothers and sisters have got old, and life reaches its inevitable conclusion. But I sat up the other night till midnight finishing this, and then I woke up at 6 and remembered it, and it popped up again, and sat in bed and finished it because I had to, because it was just such a compelling read to find out what happened to them. and really informative about how life is hard and sort of our choices about our responses to it. Another book that came in yesterday is this one, The Forgers. Now, this has been published in the US for a while, but it hasn't been published here until this month. And this is about a man who is a forger. He gets bits of, he creates the impression that he's found books that have been signed by the author, or a letter from Arthur Conan Doyle, for instance, and he passes them off as originals. So he does have a criminal past. He's not doing it anymore, but he knows people who are. And he, one of the others, is brutally murdered, very, very brutally murdered. And then he knows that somebody's on his tail, knowing that he's got that past as well. It's very closely written, very close atmosphere, very suspenseful. The reviews are astonishing. The Joyce Carol Oates said it's brilliantly written as a suspense novel, lethally enthralling to read. It's not too long. It doesn't have very many characters, and if you like something a bit dark this time of year, a bit gothic, and if you particularly like books from around sort of the Sherlock Holmes time, this is a good choice for you or someone else that you might be buying for. I haven't actually looked closely at this one, but this came in yesterday as well. And this is a big old book, but they do well at Christmas because people can dip into books that are anthologies. They don't have to read the whole thing in one go. So this is called The Assassin's Cloak, an anthology of the world's greatest diarists. And it's, so we get lots of books about letters, but actually these are people's private diaries, excerpts from. So you've got Queen Victoria, Andy Warhol, Samuel Pepys, Adrian Mole. It's got some very good reviews. So the Independent called it, Sunday Independent called it sheer lovely voyeurism and enthralling look into many lives. The Observer called it the sublime and the ridiculous for once coexisting. Let's see who else is in here. So it's organized by date. It's got on the 16th of January, it's got Lord Byron, Leo Tolstoy, Tony Benn, you've got Noel Coward, there's Pepys again, Sir Walter Scott. And because it's organized by date, it is very much something just for dipping into. So someone who, for instance, might have been very well read in their life, but not necessarily have the stamina that they did before, and actually might just still want to dip into their literary roots and their historical knowledge, this would be a very good choice for. I'm just looking to see how many dates there are. So it goes up to 641 pages, so it would keep them going, but without actually putting too much pressure on them to try to read a big book. This is £25, but a lot of people like a something that feels like a gift at Christmas time. Now, this is one that we've been waiting for with a lot of excitement, and it's aimed at teenagers, older kids, but I can see a lot of adults enjoying it. And this is The World's Most Magnificent Machines. And again, this is £20. This covers your jets. I can't remember what that kind of bicycle was called. Sports cars, ships, rocket-powered cars. That looks like the Concorde, airships, rockets. And it's written in a way that, again, isn't going to put too much pressure on any reader, because it's got not too many words on the page, but each page is actually, I'm just recording, do make your way in.
set them down, Tracy?
I'll be there in just a second. Each page has actually got lots of pictures, which I don't want to say, people need books with pictures, but actually it does bring the writing to life, because if you've ever looked at an antique book that is just words and has nothing to bring it to life, it is much more difficult to get your head around. I've got the phone ringing and people at the door, so this is what we want. We will be back. Do join us for Books at Lunchtime. The shop is open for phone calls from 9:30, which it now is, till 4, Monday to Saturday, and click and collect 10 till 2 every day. The email is open, and we hope to have some live sessions as well that you'll be able to interact with. Thanks ever so much for watching.